welcome to the second part of this series on the full track recordings album, which is here, in case you'd like one. This part I want to deal with the creative side, and so I'm going to get into that. I'm going to have a look at a few examples and try a few things out, and talk about some of the issues, some of the considerations, things that you might want to think about yourself. So first of all, it's worth saying it's your material. It's up to you how you use it. I mean, if you want to process the life out of it and turn it into a modern floor stomper, maybe it was a floor stomper in its time, fine. Then that's great. You know, why not? Why not do that? You can use it as sample material. You could construct a new track based on just a line that you particularly liked before. You could go the other way and go very, very authentic. If you, for instance, you just want to revive the track, give it some light mastering so that it sounded pretty much the way it was when it was recorded, but just a bit cleaner and fresher, that's perfectly valid as well. So when I was thinking about the approach that I wanted to take on this, I thought, well, I'm certainly interested in trying to keep it authentic, but there are certainly things that need to be sorted out. So any performance mistakes which are jarring, I wanted to get rid of, but I wanted to keep the sort of naive, slightly improvisational feel of the thing, because actually large parts of it were improvised, and just to quantize the life out of it just wouldn't have worked. It would have just ruined the whole thing. So I wanted to keep it still feeling sort of free. I mean, I was playing most of it, so it's not machine music really. So that was certainly one consideration. So really just try and edit out mistakes, get rid of nasty, jarring, wrong notes, badly fumbled rhythms and stuff. But anything that worked, I wanted to keep pretty much as it was, enhance a little bit where I could, but nothing too much, really. Okay, I'm back at the finished version now. I just wanted to go through some of the things here which were sort of creative decisions. In the first episode, we could see that there were just 6 tracks. At this point, obviously, I've fixed all those synchronization and tuning issues one way or another, either by chopping up and moving things around, or by resampling and retuning, which is a very, very tedious process, but it's doable. This is the track without any effects, at least part of it. Okay, just stop it there. So I'm going to go through the parts individually now and just solo through them, and just I'm looking to see what original effects were there so I can get some idea of how much I'm adding. So let's just solo the piano. Yeah, I don't think there's any effects on this one. Bass and arpeggio. Yeah, so I don't think there's anything on there. So that's just CZ101, which has a sort of echo effect, which is part of the envelope. And then it's the CS5, the very smaller brother of the CS80. And yeah, and that's basically using the LFO almost like a sequencer just to lay down that regular rhythm. So solo. I think that's probably got a bit of spring reverb on it, but it's also got the envelope shaping, which gives that artificial echo effect. Now the percussion part, which as I've said was an old tin can, so that's got loads of spring reverb on it. Then we've got a bass part, which I think to a certain extent is a little bit overkill considering there's already bass there, but anyway. So I think it's got a flanger on it. And then maybe the best till last is the string part. So there's a few things going on there. It's going through the CS5 to get the high pass filter sweep. There's flanger on it, but also there's a certain amount of distortion there as well, which I'm not sure would have been intentional or not. I don't know where it's distorting on the tape or somewhere within the analog electronics, possibly in the flanger. So those are the 6 parts. Let's go back to the percussion briefly. That works fine, but to be honest with you, most of that track was just unusable. So I chopped it out and I've sampled parts of it to just kind of add those sort of percussion breaks, and it adds something. I mean, it is good, but it also justifies, at least in my mind, the need for a drum track. Now, at the time, I didn't have a drum machine, but I did have access to quite a few. I was going to a music technology college in London, and they had drum machines. I had friends with drum machines, and I would quite often play around with them and record them. And those recordings are on the same tapes as the tracks, but they're not in the tracks. They're kind of like, it's just some drums on its own, because I was never able to have the time or work out how best to integrate that with my setup. So I thought, well, look, I'm going to actually rewrite history slightly here, and I'm going to use the sounds from the drum tracks that I've got, and I'm going to recreate drum tracks within the pieces that I want to renovate. Now, that's quite a stretch actually from an authentic approach, because I'm kind of making a guess, well, what kind of drum track would I have written in 1986 if I'd have had a drum machine? So I decided to go for something which sounded suitably 80s. I'm not certain I would have done that exactly the same way at the time, because I never really liked what other people were doing. Yeah, so that was added, and then a bit of hi-hat as well. Okay, so that's pretty much it without the effects and without adding in much of the mastering. I've got the ozone maximizer on, and that's it. In terms of effects though, there were a few things that I wanted to bring from the modern age, as it were, mainly reverb. So I wanted to have a basic reverb. Towards the end of 86, I ended up getting a microverb. So what I really wanted to do was allow myself the luxury of having the digital reverb a year early. Yeah, I'm going to have a look at the effects. There's not too much to this because I wanted to try and keep it simple. But the thing that I really wanted to add was the imaging. So really kind of spreading the stereo field. I've become a little bit addicted to that, and so that's kind of all over the album. Now I've got the piano here. I've got it soloed, so let's just play this. So that's without the effects. the effects back on. It just adds space, and so I've put that in a couple of places. Let's just try out one of the others. Bass knob, this is quite important here. So on this one, it's just imager. There's no reverb on this one. I'll do it solo. And that's without. Yeah, I think you get the idea. So the imager is really important part of the feel for the whole album. I used it in a lot of places. It's one of the things I remember my friends saying to me at the time, but when it would have been a bit later, was, yeah, it's odd that you're putting reverb on the bass drum. And so I thought, well, I've got to make sure I put some reverb on the bass drum, because otherwise it won't sound like me. And it's got that sort of gated sound. Okay, so it looks like I set up short reverb for that one, again on a different send. I mean, I tend to think that a lot of drum sounds from that time sounded quite clunky anyway. It's just the sort of brashness of the time. They were very much in your face. There was very little subtlety. But it's fine, I've come to like it actually. I mean, at the time I found it a bit much. So okay, this is another track. It's actually the track that was recorded directly after the one we've been looking at, and it's more complex in many ways, and I'm not going to go through it. But the one thing that really stands out about this is the tempo. So at the moment you can see that I've got it set to 140.5, but miraculously it's gone up to 142.5, 141.8, 143, 139, 137.5. I mean, it's like this all the way through. Obviously it took quite a long time to work that out. It was wondering if there was a different approach to doing it. I think, you know, it's one of the things that I like about this album is that everything is a bit out. It's a bit off. Well, it's actually a lot off. It's a lot out. Let's actually play a bit where it's kind of... Watch that tempo. What's it going to do next? I mean, I find that surprising. It went from 143 to 139. And it's sticking there. Oh, it's back up again. Yeah, I mean, there you go. I took some effects from some of the other tracks, some of the tracks that didn't really make it to the album, where I was just mucking around with synths and trying things out, and there was space here for some of that. So let's have a quick listen. Yeah, it sort of sounds that me and my friends at college used to refer to as wibbly wobbly sounds. I still think that's fairly appropriate. Yeah, so just a bit of that in the background in certain places. I think I'm still kind of like doing that sort of thing, so that's fine. Now I've got something here as well, so let's see. very quiet. Yeah, I like that sort of thing. It's good to add that in. So it was good to rescue those bits of sound which were on things that didn't make it to the album. Recycling. And I think that's about it, really. There's not much point talking about mastering because my main focus on that is really just trying to make sure the levels sound about the same, and I tend to master as I go along. That's the way I know everybody says that you shouldn't do that. You should pay for someone else to get it, but I just don't have the money to do that, and it's as simple as that. So I have to really do it myself or do nothing. Yeah, so I think one of the big questions about doing a project like this, and I think it's a really fair question, is why would you even bother? I mean, things I can do now on my music workstation, boggle the mind. I mean, I'm amazed at what I can do, and I've got a 10-year-old laptop. So, yeah, I mean, it's why bother resurrecting tracks from the 1980s that quite frankly weren't performed very well. They're pretty much sketches. What is the point? And I suppose there's a number of answers to that. I mean, the first one is obviously it's a personal project for me. I've always collected my work, but I've not released it until very recently, about 10 years ago. And I kind of want to set the record straight. I want to have my work public so that it can be seen. It's just about having those projects completed. This is what I did with my life. So that's my personal point of view. The other aspect of it is I couldn't write music like that now. It was very much something of its time. My attitudes and the way I feel about things and the way I write music now is very different from the way I did then. So to actually bring it back to life and basically portray it in the best way possible is very much a worthwhile project because it doesn't really sound like anything else. You know, for better or for worse, it doesn't really sound like much else that's out there. Although obviously there are influences. So thanks very much for watching that, and hopefully that's useful for you. I mean, it's kind of interesting to talk about the artistic considerations because I don't think it's something quite often we just think about the technical side of things, but what you actually want to do with that material I think is equally important, which is why I did the second part. If you've not had a chance to check out any of the tracks yet, then please have a look. I'll leave a link in the description and just go check it out. If you'd like to support the channel, then please consider buying one of them. Sales pitch over for now. But anyway, if you've enjoyed it, then please leave a like, consider subscribing, and all of that sort of stuff. I'm going to be getting back onto synths and plugins. You can see like I've got millions of synthesizers and not that many videos. So yeah, there's plenty of work to be done in that area. So again, thanks very much for watching, and hopefully catch you on the next one. Thanks a lot. Bye.